Hello friends, you're welcome to Queen's Fashion World today with me. I want to especially thank my subscribers. Thank you so very much. God bless you for your support. And if today is your first time of tuning this channel, you are welcome. On this channel, I upload a sewing tutorial every week, how to cut and how to sew, how to draft. So please do well to join us by hitting the subscription button and turn on the bell by the side to get an update whenever I upload a new video. So today I'll be teaching how to cut a BUBU gown with Ankara fabric. So this video was requested by one of my subscribers, so today I will be doing it. So the measurements I will be using to draft this BUBU gown: from shoulder to hip length 30 inches, from shoulder to full length 64 inches. Then shoulder measurement, which is also the length sleeve, is 22 inches. I have round sleeve 20 inches, hip circumference 46 inches divided by 4. Then I will add 5 inches to it because it's a BUBU gown. The bust circumference is just to guide us. You can do without this bust circumference, but let me add it. The bust circumference is 42 divided by 4. You also add 5 inches to it. So these are the simple measurements we'll be using to draft this BUBU today. So for me to get the size of the fabric for the BUBU, I will measure my length first. You know, this is Ankara length is 45. So you measure this way, not this way. So you measure the English mouth like this. So my length is 64 inches. So this is 60 inches. So 60 inches is the tape measurement where tape stops. So I will place like this and get 4 inches. That is 64. Then I will add a sewing allowance. I can add 4 inches so that I will add extra to draft the starting point. So let me add 4 inches. So this is 68. So 68 will be the front. I will now fold it like this to get another 68. Again like this. So you see what I'm doing? So another 68. Are you seeing now? I can cut out this one. I can just fold it and cut it out like this. And keep this one aside. So this one is going to serve for the BUBU for me, both front and back now. This is the fabric now. It's folded into 4. Are you seeing? So one side will be the back. This other side will be the front. It's on fold now. So this line you're seeing here is my starting point. All my measurement will start from this point now. So I'll place my tape from the starting point like this. Mark my hip length first. The hip length is 30 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark 30.5 inches. Half inch to join the upper part. So I will connect it together like this. 30.5 inches. Then I will go down to measure the full length. The full length of this BUBU is 64 inches. This is 60 where the tape stopped. So to complete the length, I will bring my tape like this to add 4 inches to it. But because of hemming allowance, so I will go ahead and add 1.5 inches. Or you can add 1 inch. If you want to hem it very tiny, you can add 1 inch. So let me connect it to this side also. 60. Then I will add my 5.5. I finished connecting my lines together. You know, this person is a very tall person and it's a BUBU gown. Let me just show you. This is the starting point. This is the hip length, and this is the 60. I have to mark it for you to understand. This is the 60 to complete the length. This is a 64 5.5 inches. 1 inch to hem the down and half inch to join the upper part. You can make it 2 inches for hemming allowance if you want to hem it bold. So I'll shift it to this side now to mark the neck. So the neck of this BUBU, the width, I will use 3.5 inches for the width. The depth for the back side, I can use 2 inches to mark the depth because of the collar. Let me mark the 2 inches like this. So this is the back neckline now. You can use 1.5. I'm cutting both front and back together, you remember? So the front is inside. I will open it later. So now, for me to get my shoulder slope, I'll go ahead and mark 2 inches from this ending part. 2 inches like this. Now, if you want to check your shoulder slope very well, you can also mark your shoulder measurement. The shoulder of this person is 16 inches. So let me just mark 16 inches. So from this point, you mark the normal 1 inch shoulder slope. So you have to connect your hand from the 2 inches to the 1 inch and connect it to the neck. I hope you understand me. From this point, I'll connect it to the ending shoulder slope and connect it to the neckline. From the shoulder to the neckline like this. So this is my shoulder slope now. So for me to mark my length sleeve, let me show you how we normally take length sleeve for a BUBU gown. You to know the length sleeve to use for the BUBU gown is to place your tape. I hope you're seeing my back. From your back neck, so from the back neckline, you place your tape like this. Are you seeing me now? Because I'm taking myself, so you place it to where the length sleeve of the BUBU will stop. For this person, length sleeve is 22 inches. This is how far the Ankara fabric can go. If you want to extend it, I can extend it by adding maybe a bind to the sleeve. This is how we'll take measurement for BUBU gown. So for me to mark my length sleeve, I'll place my tape from the center line like this. The length sleeve is 22 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark the 22 inches. I can add okay, 22 inches. This is how far the Ankara can go. It's exactly 22 inches here. So the round sleeve, because it's a BUBU dress, the round sleeve is always big. The round sleeve is 20 inches. So I will mark 20 divided by 2. Round sleeve is always divided by 2. So it's 10 inches. Then I will go ahead and add 2 inches sewing allowance to it. So this is the round sleeve. This is the 2 inches sewing allowance. The next place I will mark again, let me shift it a little, is the hip circumference. The hip circumference is 46. 46 divided by 4, that will give me 11.5 inches like this. And I will add 5 inches to it because it's a BUBU dress, so it's not supposed to be tight. For free wear, you have to free it by 5 inches. These 5 inches include my sewing allowance. You can use 4 inches. If the person said, I don't want my BUBU to be too big, you can use 4 inches. And mind you, this 4 inches or 5 inches I'm using, that is times 4 because it's folded. This fabric is folded now. So the 5 inches is times 4. Times 4 will give me 20 inches. That means I'm adding 20 inches to this measurement automatically when you finish sewing all round. This 20 inches, there is also sewing allowance inside. You can use 4 inches. If you use 3 inches, that means you will still add the sewing allowance. So this is the size of the BUBU I want to use for this person. So I will go ahead and check all together now. This is 16 3/4. I will go ahead and mark the 16 3/4 at this down part. Let me shift it so that you see properly. I will go ahead and mark the 16 3/4 like this for the down part. So this is the full length now. I'll go ahead and mark it together like this, the 16.5, and I will connect it together to the hip. length. I'll bring my roller to connect it like this. For the person to walk freely, you have to connect it like that to the down part. So the next place I will be marking now is the BUBU shape to curve it to this hip measurement. Now, I can go in by 3.5 inches because you don't just cut it straight like this. You have to curve like this. Curve like this to the hip length. Are you seeing now? This measurement now, you can do without the bust measurement because the BUBU is always big. Around that arm area, it's always big. But if you want to work with the bust length, that means you find your chest line and mark your chest line. So from this point, you don't really need it. From this point now, let me say if you want to use the bust measurement, see what you will do. From this point now, you can mark the bust measurement. This person bust measurement is 42. Let me show you what 42 will give us. So this is 42. So if you add the 5 inches to it, you see the shape you will get. So you will now connect it like this. You see, it's not connecting well with the hip. But if you want to use it, it's still okay. You can use it. But for me, I'm using this first line. I want the BUBU to be big in this area. But if you want a small BUBU, you can use this bust measurement to connect your hand and just find a way to blend it with the hip length. Let me clean this one. I don't need it. So this is our BUBU shape now. You take it down like that. The next place I want to show you again, if you forgot to measure the BUBU sleeve from the neck, from the back neck point to the sleeve length, you can also calculate it. Maybe you have the person's measurements, shoulder measurements, and length sleeve. You can put it together. Let me show you now. I think we have shoulder measurements here, which is 16 inches. So let me say 16. I will add ½ inch to it. Is to calculate the sleeve length. Maybe this person's sleeve length is 10 inches or 12 inches. You just go ahead and add the sleeve length. So that is another way you can also calculate the BUBU. But it's always better to measure from the back neckline, to get the length sleeve. So I just discovered something. This person length sleeve, the person is very tall, and this 22 is too small for the person's length sleeve. So what I will do, I will add a bind to it to extend the sleeve length a little. So if I'm to add bind to it, that means I will use this 20. The sleeve length is becoming longer now. So I will slim it. I can use 9 inches now to carve this sleeve length because the sleeve will get to this point, and this area and this area is not supposed to be the same. So I will just mark the 9 inches, then I will add a 2 inches seam allowance. So I will be taking this measurement like this now and blend it together. How you see now? So because of the band that I will be adding here, I just slimmed the round sleeve. That is just the only thing that I did here. I just slimmed the round sleeve instead of this one now. I'm not taking this one because I want to add band to it to extend the length sleeve because the person is very tall. But if it's someone that is not too tall, this size is okay. So I'll go ahead and cut it out now. So I normally cut the neck together, both front and back, because the back is high neck. It will not affect the front at all. So I will go ahead and cut it together like this. So this is the shape of our BUBU now. I can now open it like this. I can now open it like this and take away one part. This part now is the back. I'll keep it aside because I'm done with cutting of the neck at the back. So it is this front neck. I want to cut the collar neck now in front. This BUBU will have a collar and also a placket in front. So I'll go ahead and mark the neck now. So are you seeing now? So from the starting point to mark the collar neck in front, I will mark 10 inches for the neck like this. 10 inches. Let me just connect a square line. Let me just connect a square. The upper neck, the width is 3.5 inches. So I will connect the 3.5 inches for you to see it properly. Like this. So are you seeing now? So from this 10 inches, I will now mark 1 inch. Like this. I'll go ahead and mark 1 inch. So I'm going to connect my line from the upper line to this 1 inch shape. Are you seeing now? So this is the front neckline. I'll go ahead and cut it out like this. Then I will notch this place a little, just notch it a little, like this. Let me open it and show you the notching. You see, just a small, so we can fold the collar very well. So what I will do next, I will open it. This is the front. I will place the back on it like this, and I will just go ahead and join the shoulder. Join the shoulder to this point. Join this shoulder to this point. Then I will come back to the table to show you. So I have finished joining the shoulder. See what I have now. Now to cut the collar from this point where I notch, you see, I'll place my tape from that point now. Then I will measure all round to the shoulder, all the way back to this same point again. What I have here is 28 inches. 28 inches is what I will use to cut the collar now. So 28 inches, I'll just go ahead and mark 28. This fabric is folded into two, like this. So I'll go ahead and mark 28. Just add 2 inches to it for sewing allowance. Instead of the collar to be short, it's better for you to have extra. So I will go ahead and mark 15 inches, that is 30. Extra 2 inches to it like this. Then I want this collar to be 3 inches. 3 inches, that is if I fold it like this. So I'll go ahead and mark 6 inches. And mark again 6 inches to it. Just connect it together like this. And I will cut it out. So see what I have here. I will now hold it like this. Fold it into two. So just make sure you arrange it equal, like this. I want to shape this side to be smaller than this side now. So instead of using 3 inches at that point, I will use 2.5 inches or 2.25 and connect it like this. I see now. So this side needs to be smaller than this back side. The front side, you have to shape it to make it smaller than the back. So I will just cut out a little from it like this. So this is the shape for the collar now. What I will do, I will go ahead and gum it full now with hairstyle. I'm going to gum it with hairstyle. I can double the hairstyle to make it firm because I don't want to use a strong gum on it. It will make the front rumple, but hairstyle is better, so you can double it, or if you have a strong hairstyle, better for you. So I will keep it aside. I'll just go ahead and gum it, and the next place I will be marking now is the bind for the sleeve, to extend the sleeve length. The sleeve length is the round sleeve is 9 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark. (9 inches), that is 18. All right, so I'll just fold it into, if I mark like this it's one sleeve, but if I fold it like this is the two sleeve. Now I will be cutting, so I will just use a 2.5 inches. So after finishing, what I will have left will be 2 inches. I'll just go ahead and mark 2.5 inches like this. Sorry, what I'm cutting here is one sleeve rather. This is one sleeve because I'm going to fold it like this. You see, I'm going to fold it like this. I will also gum it with hairstyle, so I will go ahead and cut the second sleeve. So the next place I will be marking now is the placket in front. The placket in front. How to get your placket? You're to divide your nipple to nipple into two and add 2 inches to it, or 2.5 inches to it. This person's measurement, the nipple to nipple is 8 inches divided by 2, that is 4 inches. I added 2.5 inches to it. You can add 2 inches to it, is okay. Then the length of your placket, you can use, I'm using 10 inches. 10 inches. So yeah, when I open it, is what I have. So for me to have a shape at the down part, I can just knot the center like this. I can knot the center. From this down part, I will mark 3 inches upward like this, 3 inches. Then this side, I can slant it by 3 inches or 3.5. Then I will just cut it like this to give a shape. Shape now I'm cutting by this side. If I fix it on the dress, it will be like this. You can also put it this side, depends what you want, the shape that you want. So 3 inches by 3 inches, I can make it 3.5. Let me use 3.5. I want the round to come out, and 3.5 this way, so I will cut it like this. So you see, just 3.5 inches like this. So when I fix it, this is what I will have. So the next thing I will do, I'm going to gum it too with hairstyle. I'm going to gum it and fold this side in like this. I see now. I can use a hemming gum to hem it properly, and also fold it this way. Just fold it all round. So I'll go ahead and gum all these pieces with hairstyle. So I just finished gumming the collar now. I doubled my hairstyle because I want it to be strong. If you want to use a collar gum, you can use it. If you want it to be very strong, you can use a collar gum. So I also gummed the plackets and the bind for the sleeve. So I will keep this placket and the bind aside. Let me do it one after the other for you to understand it very well. So when you finish gumming it, trim out the excess. The iron will always expand the fabric, more especially bridal or crepe. So make sure you measure it again. You know the 2.5 that we use by this side and 3 inches here. Check it again. So now, having done that, I just go ahead and notch the center. I hold it like this, and I notch the center of this. I also notch the center of this BUBU. Hold the shoulder like this, hold the two shoulder like this, and notch the back center. Then bring your collar like this. If you don't want to see the joining, two ways you can do it. You sew from the back. You sew from the back like this, and use iron to iron this line, which is the front, and place it on top. When you sew from the back, you place it on top like this. That means you run thread. I don't want thread to show on top, so this is the way I will do it. I will start from the back, so that any allowance that will remain from this side and this side, they will be equal. So I will start from the back and pin it like this. So I finished pinning the collar now. You see the remaining allowance, the both sides. So I will go ahead and sew it. Now that I've pinned it, I can start anywhere. I can start from here, I can start from back. So let me start from this side and sew it. I'll bring it to show you. So I've finished joining the collar now. See what I have here. So it's better for you to have excess than to have shortage. So this is the remaining one, the 2 inches that we added. So now you flip it this side like this. You see what I'm doing? 2 ways that you can do this thing. If you don't want to run thread on top, which you will still run thread because of the way the style came, the placket, you will still run thread eventually. So, but if there is no placket, you don't want to run thread on top, let me show you how you can do it. You turn it over this way, turn it this way, and you hold it like this. Make sure you lap the center the way you want it, and sew this space now. Just sew it like this. So when you sew it that way, you will not run thread on top. But for this, I will run thread on top because of the placket. I will still run thread even if without the distance. So I will just put it like this. See what I'm doing? And run thread on top like this neatly. So let me go and run the thread and bring it back. Ironing the collar, see how beautiful it is. So I'll go ahead and hold this BUBU like this to trace the center of it. So I'll iron the center like this to create a straight line for me to know the center of this BUBU now. So I've gotten the center line. Time to place this thing now, the placket, which I also gummed the placket. This is hemming gum. I will just cut the hemming gum at the center like this. I'll keep one aside and make use of this one. First of all, fold this side in, place my hemming gum like this, and just bend it this way. The reason why I cut the hemming gum so that it will not stain the iron. That is why I split it into 2. So I can do this side all through without hemming gum, but this side I need to use hemming gum to make it balance. So let me also bend this side. I will bend it like this to this way. So see what I have here. Now that I've finished ironing the whole side, I will fold it like this to also trace the center of this. So I will just iron the center like this to create a line. So now that I've finished ironing it, I will place this line now to rhyme with this center line and bring it on top this lace that I stitch. Are you seeing now? This is how you fix your plackets. Then I will use pin. So I finish securing the plackets now with pin. I'll just go ahead, you can start anywhere. I'll just go ahead and stitch it like this. Stitch it like this to this point now. Let me go to machine. Placket now. You see how beautiful it is. So the next lace I will be doing now is the sleeve. I want to extend the sleeve. So if you want to run thread on top, go ahead and use iron to bend this front like this and sew it at the back like so, and turn it over like this and run thread on top. But if you don't want to run thread, like me, I don't want to run thread, so I'll just go ahead and sew it like this. I will mark the center to center. The shoulder joining is already there to guide me for the center. I'll just place it like this and sew it and turn it over. Do the same thing to this other side, and I will go ahead and close the BUBU gown to show you. Gown, see, it's just a simple thing to follow the measurement of the round sleeve like this. with 1 inch. Just sew it straight like this down. The same thing I did to this side, just close it like this. Very simple, till down. The next thing I will need to do is to, now before I forget, let me show you this allowance. I will go ahead and weave it. I'll weave all this allowance, the shoulder, everywhere, to make it neat. So the next thing I will do again is to iron the allowance. I'm going to open it like this and iron it all through, and also apply the same thing to this side. Open the allowance like this. I'll open it and iron it all through like this. So you see how I open the allowance and iron all through to the sleeve, and the same thing I apply to this side too. So I will go ahead and turn it to the front now. So I will go ahead and iron the front like this by the side. You iron it out like this. For the shape to come out like this, I will apply the same thing to this side also. So I finished ironing it now. You see how beautiful it is. The last place I will sew now is the down. I'm going to hem the down. So I will open it like this. Just hem it. I will fold it first and second folding. You have to fold it double. I'll double fold it like this and fold it all around. See how beautiful the BUBU gown is. Please do well to like and share. I want to see your comments on the comment section, and with time I'll be bringing more BUBU style for you on this channel. Thank you so very much. See you in my next video.